Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. Now over the last few months I've bought a few extra slot cars, who'd have thought it. Some of those cars you've seen on this channel, but some you haven't. So what I thought I would do is I'd make one video per day for the next 4 days and I would just document each of these cars briefly. So we'll take them apart on the table, show you inside, pop them on the turntable and then gently run them around Rickard Valley just so that we can see them in motion. So without further ado, let's get on my table and start these reviews. Okay, so for today's car we've got a modern Scalextric. Now I absolutely love the Golf livery and I absolutely love this car. Now on my computer, the one that I use for sim racing, I've got this exact car on my home screen page of my computer and it looks at me every single time I turn the computer on, and it's a full screen picture and it's beautiful. The image that I've got on my computer is 009, but this is 007, but my 009 image is identical to this car because the 009 version of this Scalextric's car, that white square is actually yellow. So this particular car resembles the car on my computer screen much better, and it's absolutely beautiful. I've been looking at my computer screen for a couple of years and I thought I've just got to get myself a Scalextric's version of that car. So here it is. So this is the one I've got. So this is part number C2960, Aston Martin DBR9 number 007, and it's absolutely fantastic. You can see it's the modern Scalextrics in the modern case. I don't know if I like these modern cases all that much. They're a little bit difficult to stack. I found the shape is a little bit weird for my cabinet, but it is what it is. So we've got the usual screw thread in the bottom there with a little spacer. Very boring. Let's get that out of the way and let's look at this beautiful car. Now as you can see, it's got some fantastic detail and the blue is beautiful and the orange is beautiful and the lining is beautiful. It's a beautiful car. Lovely great big wing, lots of nice detail. Now this was in the time when Scalextrics were making some very nice looking cars. Now okay, they may not handle the best compared to something like a Slot It or an NSR or even a Scale Auto or anything like that, but you know, Scalextrics in this particular time period, I believe this was probably 7 or 8 years ago, I'm not entirely sure. This is, in my opinion, when Scalextrics really were making some of the nicest models as slot cars. Not necessarily best slot cars, but just the nice looking cars. They were robust, but lots of nice detail, and they just had an overall nice quality about them. Not sure if we're quite there yet these days, but when this car came out, they were certainly pretty good. So as you can see, we've got some wonky aerials, but they've not snapped, so they're still there. We've got the nice door mirrors as well. Again, not snapped, they're still there. I've got a very nice vertical windscreen wiper, and that's very finely done. It looks really good. The windscreen wipers are something that often get overdone. They're often a bit too big, but that's just the right sort of depth to be subtle, but definitely still there. It looks really smart. And as you can see, we've got some really nice detail down the sides. Got the exhausts and all the little sponsors all beautifully printed. The Union flag beautifully picked out. 007 super crisp and all the Gulf logos really nicely done. Very clear headlights. They fit beautifully as well. They flow with the body. And this particular car has got these 2 panels for the pressure relief in the front wheel arches. Now these ones here are smoothed over, but on the green Aston Martin that they do, they're actually louvered. And again, on the image that I've got on my computer, they're actually louvered. So it would be nice if they were louvered, and they do louvers for this car, but I say in the green one. But never mind. Got a lovely fuel cap there. Got some little vents in the back window there, and some nice Michelin water prints there, really nicely done. And the Hackett London or whatever it is on the rear spoiler there. We've even got some printing on the underside of the spoiler. You've got a nice diffuser there, nice deep diffuser, looks really sharp. Tyres, these tyres, to be fair, they do feel a little bit hard. I think this car is going to struggle for grip on my MDF track, but whatever, it's okay. So yeah, so there we are. So we got, and the bonnet. The bonnet is absolutely fantastic. I love these gills and these air vents. They look really smart, and they're very deep, and they go all the way down into the chassis, so they've got a lot of relief to them. They look fantastic. So yeah, so there we are. So that's basically the body, and we got some sort of, I guess it might be a fuel cell or something in the back, and you can see that the cage is in there. And this is the era of slot car where we do have full depth interior. I'm not a fan of full depth interior because it doesn't really put the weight where we want it for a slot car. It's just too much weight and it's a bit unnecessary and you can't really see it. But I suppose if you squint, you can kind of see the driver's knees. Is it worth it from a performance point of view? Well, no, but well, it's here, so that's that. And as you can see, we've got a door here for the digital. Now, I've called this in the past a DPD door. I have no idea what they actually call this door because I don't like digital anyway. I'm really not a digital guy. I like my Scalextric cars or my slot cars to be simple, and I think digital just adds another layer of complexity which is quite difficult to deal with all the lane changing. I think it's just a recipe for car crashes. Again, I don't actually like the crossovers or the pinch points on tracks either. I think slot cars should be straight up analog, straight lanes, and you do what you do, and when you just start racing, you do all the racing in all the individual lanes and you add up your overall time, and that's how you're supposed to run slot cars, in my opinion. All this closing of lanes and crisscrossing and actually being able to cross lanes digitally, I think that's just a more complex than it needs to be. But like I say, I've called this door a DPD door in the past, but it's not DPD, is it? Because DPD is a delivery company, at least within the UK, for delivering parcels. So it's not a DPD door at all. That's something completely different. Anyway, there we are. So there we are. So let's whip the body off and we'll have a look at what we've got. Now, actually, I believe that these two screws here actually only hold down the interior. So I think this chassis is only held in with 4 screws, but let's find out together. And I appear to be wrong. These screws do in fact need to come out. And there we are. Right, so they do need to come out after all. And typically I haven't done that one enough. So let's take him out as well. And there we are. So here we are. So as you can see, we've got a full depth interior, which does nothing but add weight. I'm not a fan of these full depth interiors, but personally I think that the Revo slot have got the right idea, where they actually do a reasonably detailed vacuum formed interior, so that keeps the weight down, keeps the cost down as well, and then you don't have to carry around all this extra weight to spoil your handling. But you know, that's the way Scalextrics do it, and that's what we've got. So there's the interior there. And I say we don't have any light modules actually inside the car to carry the light through to the lenses or inside the body. We've got actually light boards. So they've got the modern light boards on the rear and the modern light board on the front. And this particular chassis carries some of its bodywork on the front of this lower chassis, which is interesting. Got the canards there as well, all molded into the front splitter, so they're or the front valance there, so they're nice and strong. We've got no silly flippy floppy front axle, so that's really good. So that helps with handling a lot. There's the plug for the DCC plug there, which whatever, and we've got a little bit of tape down there. I've not really seen that, obviously to keep the wires out of the way, but that's something new that I've not seen before. And obviously we've got a sidewinder configuration. We've got standard plastic gears with nylon plastic rear bearings, nothing special going on there at all, and obviously the rear light board. And there, it's quite a nice chassis. It's got a little bit of flex to it. It's got these reinforcing ribs down the side, so it'll sort of give it a little bit of flex, but not a bit of sort of wobble. Although the wobble will disappear, the sort of bowing of the chassis would disappear because it's all bolted through to the underside of the interior tray anyway. So any flex in that chassis would be kind of taken away. So if you wanted to run this car with slackened body screws, you'd probably have to leave these 2 screws out completely, and maybe even trim those little tubes off and trim those ones off there. That would sort of separate the middle of the chassis, so you can sort of allow for a little bit of flex. And I'm probably saying more than the scope of this video needs to be at that point, because we're going down the tuning route again, which is typical for me. Oh, what's interesting here is you've got a nice air scoop part on the front here, which is obviously just behind the scoop on the front. Again, it's really nice with Scalextrics. They do put on this extra detail that you don't necessarily get with other brands. And I didn't realise this, but you've actually got a complete hole in there, which would then go all the way up and come out through those vents. So you've actually got the potential, yes, there's actually daylight coming through the front of those vents when you put the two halves together. It's detail like that that you don't get on all cars, but Scalextrics usually do include stuff like that, and it just makes a difference. So we got a quick release plate on the front there, and as you can see on the bottom of the box here, you've got those spare ones on this box here. So that's all a nice modern feature. And we got a magnet, which is the first magnet in all these cars that I've shown you. So that's a bit of a thumbs down from me. We don't like magnets as well. We don't like magnets as well. Anyway, so let's pop this body back on this car and we'll gently drive it around Rickard Valley and see what she looks like. There we are. That's a short review of one of the slot cars that I've bought recently. So I hope you've enjoyed this sort of content, and if you have, maybe you'll subscribe. And if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.